Both are given their chances by Conte in this Chelsea starting lineup, and of course the one name who will no longer be on a Chelsea team sheet, John Terry, moving on to Aston Villa after 22 years at Stamford Bridge. It'll take some getting used to that for us, if not for him. So 2 changes by Conte after that impressive win over Arsenal. As for Bayern, not at full strength and not at full throttle, quite honestly, so far. Ancelotti makes 4 changes after what he acknowledged was a substandard performance against Milan. Tom Starker's back in goal. Marco Friedl, Renato Sanchez and James Rodriguez all return to the starting lineup. But Bayern looking for a win after a penalty shootout Arsenal and a thumping defeat by Milan. A Milan side which seemed to be a week or 2 behind in terms of preparation starting off, or at least that's what we thought. So underway here in the National Stadium in Singapore. Delighted to have Keith Andrews alongside me. Keith.
Evening, Paul, thank you. Really interested to see the contrast of the 2 systems. Chelsea playing that favoured 3 at the back. Both teams, it has to be said, with very strong starting 11s.
Frank Ribery looked very sharp to start the tour. Steered backward by Tolisso to Mats Hummels, who did not cover him. Did he in the Milan game, Hummels?
No, there was a few Bayern players that weren't really at the races. Very surprising result against AC Milan. They were superb on the evening. Bayern will certainly be looking for a better performance today.
Michy Batshuayi up front. He got 2 against Arsenal. Did come to Willian in the end. Pitch doesn't look very quick, Keith, does it?
Quite slow.
Yep.
The ball slow. It's going to be very. Sure, they all have got a feel for it in the warm-up. The tempo of the majority of these games has been very, very impressive, in which are testing conditions, it has to be said.
Yeah, outstanding in both hemispheres. Victor Moses kept his head down. He had 4 options in the box then, and in the end couldn't pick any of them out. Anyway, how have Chelsea started? Is it Christensen in the middle of a 3 here?
Yeah, Christensen right in the middle. Cahill, as per usual, on the left-hand side of that back 3. And Azpilicueta, such versatility, the right-hand side.
Marcos Alonso. Tom Starker's back in goal for Bayern Munich this evening. Christian Frichtl, the youngster, played. Don't think he was at fault for any of the goals particularly. You're more expert than I, but it wasn't a happy night for him. No,
it was disappointing. It was what went on in front of him, which was very disappointing. Young goalkeeper who would have been looking to really make an impression was at fault for none of the goals.
Renato Sanchez has had a struggle really to impose himself at Bayern Munich over the last year after that huge transfer on the back of his Euro 2016 exploits. Fabregas would say, look, the ball popped up and I was entitled to have a bite at it. Corentin Tolisso, another of the big purchases by Bayern. That's a miscue again by Hummels.
In front of that back 3 at Chelsea, Bernard Kante, Fabregas holding the midfield, the wing backs are in place, and I think there's going to be a little bit of licence for Boga. He's taking up a position on the left, but licence to come inside with Willian on the right, picking up those number 10 positions. Obviously Batshuayi playing that lone striker role.
Switch by James Rodriguez. Very comfortable Friedl's cross returned by Christensen. Friedl get an extended run in the side because of the injury problems. Juan Bernat picked up an injury last time out. Friedl can play as a left back or a left centre back. Renato Sanchez, Rafinha from right back for Bayern. He's played every game so far on this tour, looking for Muller. Is it a more central starting position here for Muller tonight, Keith? I think so, with Rodriguez actually on the right.
Yeah, he's just playing just behind Lewandowski, which Bayern will be looking to exploit. Have the extra man in there. Tolisso, Sanchez, Muller just playing the other side of Kante, and Fabregas. Big role today for Kante.
Ribery down the left, gets a free kick. That's Azpilicueta. 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 That's Azpili Shapes to be a very important man again for Bayern in the season ahead.
Even the age that he is, he belies it, doesn't he? He's such a consummate professional. Been at Bayern for such a long time now.
Outside of the boot again by Hummels. It was better than the first one, but didn't get the job done either, did it?
If at first you don't succeed.
Tolisso to Sanchez. Xabi Alonso, again, much like John Terry, it'll get some getting used to not say Xabi Alonso when you're watching Bayern, and Philipp Lahm also departing. The know-how as much as the individual quality might be missed, I think. All that experience.
Probably more so when things aren't going to plan, when you do have that little wobble, which every team does during the season. It's those types of characters in the dressing room and the trainers' allies that the managers do rely on. They will be missed.
Seems a little arch of us to pick holes in a team that's won the Bundesliga 5 seasons in a row. Here's Rafinha. Oh, he scored from distance. Courtois couldn't get down to it. Well, that's what Bayern have needed on this tour, a spark, and the Brazilian right-back provides it.
Well, they've really exposed that left-hand side for Chelsea. Alonso was pegged back, and they switched the play really, really well. I'm not sure they expected that spark to come from Rafinha, but he certainly provided it. Super strike. See, Boga was right tucked in between. Kante can't get across. The back five just drop off. He strikes it well. Courtois, for his standards, I think he'll be disappointed.
Dani Alves, eat your heart out. Ancelotti looking for much better here from Bayern this evening, and that's how to start, certainly. After Chelsea had looked very composed and confident. Thomas Muller. James Rodriguez in from that right flank position. Renato Sanchez on the follow-up. Mats Hummels was interesting, I thought, in his interview after the Milan game in this International Champions Cup, Keith, when he just said, it's embarrassing, frankly, what we put on, and we'll put it right.
Well, they certainly reacted in the right way. I thought he was very honest, you're right. He held his hands up as well for the part he played. I think it was the third goal, sloppy pass. Milan to really capitalise on the mistake. We've certainly seen the reaction.
Big travelling Bayern contingent, and of course only the very, very best standards ever good enough at Bayern. Big opportunity here for Jeremy Boga.
It's a super first time pass by Cahill which found Boga, and he was bright, lively.
Boga, Marseille born in France. We understand his intention is to play for Côte d'Ivoire internationally. Batshuayi, Willian. Rafinha inside Marcos Alonso. Tolisso had a little look. Lewandowski, beautiful use of his body then, wasn't it? But he has looked sluggish, hasn't he, Keith, on this tour?
We didn't see that against Milan in any part of the game. That type of sharpness clearly feels a little bit fresher, match sharp after that game. It's amazing the way players' fitness can come on in the space of a few days in pre-season.
Rafinha's full of it. Lewandowski went again. Good covering by Azpilicueta. And a bit of room for Boga to work with here. Batshuayi indicating he should go infield, and he follows the instructions of the main man. Here is Batshuayi. Fabregas aimed at Moses. Friedel got there. Bayern looking sharper. I think this will be a good contest here, Keith.
It started very, very well, hasn't it? Very nice competitive edge to it. As I've already mentioned, the difference in systems as well, playing that little Kante. Well, that was Marshall from last year, Matic, who very much liked, will be moving on to another club with the arrival of Bakayoko. Fabregas, a different type of player in there, and certainly when you play with only two defensively, can be found out at times.
So much speculation at this time of the year. For what it's worth, what I took from that interview with Conte was Conte is hoping to bring in more top-line players.
What he has done, he's already brought in three very, very good players that undoubtedly will either start or be in and around the starting 11. If he can add one or two more, a lot of talk about Sandro, left back at Juve, provide a little bit more competition for Marcos Alonso, who has to be said had a remarkable season last year.
Marco Alonso on it here. Fabregas to Kante. I can understand Conte's thinking completely. It's going to be a much more arduous season for Chelsea. Number one, they are the target in the Premier League for all the other big clubs. And the Champions League, Lewandowski. Good recovery in the end by Azpilicueta. Well, he's woken up, hasn't he, Robert Lewandowski, after two very indifferent displays by his standards.
He's been a different player already in the opening 10, 11 minutes. Even Muller making that explosive run just to try and create a little bit of space for him. It's a lot better by Bayern.
Here's Muller. James to the right. He goes left instead. And there's plenty of room here for Frank Ribery. Chelsea looking a bit stretched. Ribery down the outside. Needs a touch, and it's been provided by Thomas Muller, and Bayern are 2 up.
But what a difference a few days makes. Literally blowing Chelsea away. Very unlike Chelsea to be exposed defensively the way we've seen on a couple of occasions. Frank Ribery was superb. Alonso nowhere to be seen at the back post. Cahill has to tuck in. We've already spoken about Fabregas. Can he do a little bit more defensively? Run by James creates a little bit of space for Thomas Muller. And are we really surprised to see Muller hit the back of the net with that composure? Great start by Bayern.
That picture needs no words from me. What hit us? What's hit Chelsea is a Bayern Munich side with top players whose pride has been stung. Is it just me, or was I expecting Marcos Alonso to get back in there and help cover? Fabregas was trying to bail Chelsea out at the end.
Well, I think even take that singular attack out of the equation for minutes, probably Chelsea have been coming under a little bit of pressure, and what normally happens is that back three quickly turns into a back five, but they were so exposed. Azpilicueta was getting dragged into little pockets. Very, very unlike Chelsea.
Friedel gets a free kick against Willian. Willian a scorer against Arsenal. Batshuayi got the other two for Chelsea. Friedel trying to seize the unexpected opportunity on this tour with the injury to Bernat. David Alaba, incidentally, is among the substitutes here for Bayern. Renato Sanchez to Rafinha. James Rodriguez. Muller. Long by Hummels. Marcos Alonso in that orthodox position on that occasion. Back to his goalkeeper Courtois. Chelsea trying to play out and Bayern trying to press them back. Might have given it away here, Chelsea. Great work by Conte. Hummels stepped onto it. It's been a big theme of this tournament, Keith, which I have to say I think has been a sensational success. But you are watching big teams here playing like they're in Bundesliga games or Premier League games or Serie A games.
I would totally echo those views, and I think it's made for what has been a fantastic tournament. How often have we seen down through the years these types of tournaments and games be testimonial like? They have been nothing but, and I think it's proved. Bayern the other day against AC Milan, if you're not prepared to start the game in the right tempo, you can quickly become found out, which Chelsea have been so far, it has to be said.
And of course, nobody quite started it like Neymar and Messi for Barcelona in California the other night against Juventus. If you didn't see it, find it and watch it. It was unbelievable for 30 minutes. Ribery. Little nick from behind by Fabregas.
Got too much from Ribery, pace, trickery, ever so slightly clips his heels, and I don't think he needed to. Kante was recovering really well behind him.
Tolisso, he's stitching it together much better here for Bayern. Their big signing from Lyon. James Rodriguez with the outside of his boot.
Tolisso was very quiet the other day against AC. Himself and Martinez was dropped back to centre half this evening. Very, very quiet and dominated by the AC Milan midfield. Frank Kessie in particular really shining.
On by Renato Sanchez. To Friedel, gives it to Ribery. Tom Starker mentioned holiday makers. Starker was preparing for a nice long holiday of retirement sort at the end of the year. He actually bid farewell to Bayern Munich at the end of last season. They had a party for him at Sabnerstrasse, the training ground. He's been back up there to Manny Neuer for 4 or 5 seasons, and of course Sven Ulreich came in more recently. And Starker leaves Bayern end of May. 2 weeks into June, he gets a phone call, said, look, we're a bit short for the pre-season tour, could you come? And here he is.
It's a remarkable story, isn't it? It shows the relationship that Bayern have with their former players, though.
Here's one of the next wave. Friedel got there. Well, thought he got there. Sad to say a departure has been Holger Badstuber, a very gifted left-sided defender who's had terrible trouble with injury for the last 3 or 4 years. He was loaned out to Schalke last season and I'm afraid looked a shadow of his former self, and he has now departed Bayern. Moses. Fabregas tight, and Renato Sanchez dominating in that area today. Ribery. Space again on that side. James Rodriguez all alone, and he should have scored.
Courtois is the only one who's trying to sort this out. Comes out as soon as that ball goes over the bar from James. Phil Longo starting position, the recovery run again. Red shirts, bombing in the box. Muller, James, such space at the back post, able to take it down. And for a player of his ability, he should be hitting the target.
Keith, you're the expert. Marcos Alonso is spending the whole game in front of the ball, and I don't know that Conte wants him to play like that.
I think when you're in comfortable possession, when Kante, Fabregas are on the ball, you need to be an option out wide. They're the ones that provide the width, the attack. But the ball was so deep on that occasion. In worst case scenario, when you lose the ball, you have to see that reaction of the recovery run right back in. Cahill got dragged over to Muller. Alonso has to try and get back in, tuck in, more as an orthodox left back in those occasions.
Starker out to Hummels. Lewandowski's got a free kick this time. Christensen. Well, it's not the ideal start for Christensen either, is it? So very good in that loan spell at Borussia Mönchengladbach. Still only 21 years of age, and we know very highly thought of at Chelsea. almost an ever-present as a teenager in his first season at Mönchengladbach, and he followed up with another 31 Bundesliga appearances last season. And may I say, in a Mönchengladbach side that don't do a lot of defending, so he was a busy boy. Cahill to Christensen. Batshuayi's been quiet so far. Gives it away. Fabregas following up, but he couldn't get it. As ever, it's a time of change, even for a club as well run as Chelsea are, Key. So just with every respect to those who know already, for those Chelsea fans maybe who've been on holiday or not following it closely, even in this modern era of social media, etc. Begovic departing to Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke to Liverpool, Cuadrado confirming that move to Juventus, Christian Atsu to Newcastle, Bertrand Traoré to Lyon, Toliso's former club. Here he is. Nathan Ake also to Bournemouth. I mentioned John Terry's departure. Nathaniel Chalobah to Watford, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek to Crystal Palace. So that's why Conte feels perhaps that he needs some more people in.
He spoke in the build-up to this game that he maybe feels he has 16 players, outfield players, that are capable of playing first-team football. We all know the way the loan system works. Already there's 12 out on loan next season, but such a well-run club in terms of how they orchestrate that loan system. And those players that you mentioned, they've sold or moved on, recouped a hell of a lot of money that should be given to Conte, because he has balanced the books quite well over the last year.
Yes, another feature of it. I totally agree with that, would endorse that. But isn't it a sign of the times that two Chelsea players left for Bournemouth, Begovic and Nathan Ake, for a combined fee of £30 million? I remember Bournemouth not very long ago, within hours of going out of existence.
And I only played against them only a few years ago as they came up from League One into the Championship, took that division by storm. It's been a real success story, but you're right, the way that club has gone has been magnificent.
Bayern are taking this fixture in Singapore by storm at the moment. Ribéry, Frank Ribéry again, couldn't trick his way past Fabregas that time. Renato Sanchez, he's just imposing himself so much more on this game than he has done previously in this tour. James Rodriguez, now that's Marco Alonso doing some defending.
And Chelsea are getting overrun. Bayern team, they've got way too much energy. And the obvious talent that they possess, once they get into those areas, Chelsea are really struggling to lay a glove on them.
Hard going in this humidity, chasing the ball. Did you have a view about these kind of conditions in pre-season? Because obviously if you were in California, say, in the other half of the International Champions Cup, much drier air generally. Is the humidity a limiting factor, Keith, or in the long run is it better for you?
Well, you've just come out. I think initially it's tough, and in certain games you come off, maybe haven't had the run around, and you're thinking, I'm nowhere near it. But if you persevere with the training, the games in those conditions, I think once you come back to your more natural environment, you really do feel the benefits.
Hugely ambitious global project this, with the major club names embracing it so enthusiastically. The top two from the Bundesliga, the 5 of the top 6 from last season's Premier League in England, 5 major club sides from Italy, 2 from France, and in 2 hemispheres, out here in the Far East and in the United States, where we've seen some spectacular stuff. Real Madrid and Barcelona of Spain out there, of course. We're watching the future, Keith, I think. Here's Willian. Had the space to hit it, but it's pulled well wide, and Stark's not needed in goal.
It's one of the very few occasions we've seen Chelsea really threaten Stark's goal. It's a nice little give and go. Boga picks up a nice little position. Willian, once he gets into the position, he's only looking to get a shot off. Could have possibly slipped. Victor Moses in down the right hand side. Through Hummel's leg, just drags it wide.
Willian. Looking for Victor Moses, he couldn't thread it to him. Hummels, first time, found his target. On by Muller, look at the room. Ribery's got down this side. Chelsea again in full retreat. Kante did well, and they needed him.
That's where he's so crucial. Kante, the recovery run. Realised Christensen was struggling 1v1 compared to Christensen. He held him up quite well by that time. Good Kante, reads the pass, just trying to find James.
25 minutes have flown by here, but it's been a bit of a daze from Chelsea's point of view. Batshuayi's not making much impact up front for Chelsea. Here's Muller, and they cut a swathe forward again here, Bayern. Thomas Muller, he's going to hit it. Oh, that's outrageous. And Thibaut Courtois doesn't get anywhere near that one either.
Well, again, how many times Chelsea going to get caught out on the break? Someone very, very similar the other day against AC Milan. He opted to go the other side. They break so well. Lewandowski pulls away. Cahill, can he engage a little bit quicker? Possibly. He opens up. And it's sublime effort. Real control by Thomas Muller to beat an outstanding goalkeeper in Courtois. He's conceded 3. In the opening half, he won't be happy.
There are lots of very strong players mentally at a club like Bayern Munich, but maybe Thomas Muller slightly stands apart in that respect. The more stick he gets, the stronger he comes back. And he's coming back in this game. Rafinha, the player who started the rout. Rodriguez, who should have made it by now 4-0. They're pinging the ball around here, aren't they, Keith?
It's very impressive, it really is. I think Antonio Conte needs to react in some way. I imagine it won't be in terms of personnel, certainly until half-time. He needs to get the message on to Marcus Alonso and Victor Moses just to sit in. Kante, Fabregas hold the centre of the pitch, because at the moment they're giving Bayern way too much space and they're taking advantage of it.
Ribery. Great the way Ribery appears to have shaken off those injury problems which have dogged him for the last sort of 2 years of his Bayern career. Becoming one of the most successful ever foreign imports into the Bundesliga now.
Well, he's certainly, like a lot of people I would imagine, just thought that it may be passing through a couple of years, 3 years maybe, and then he would move on. He's certainly settled in there very well, and he's become very much part of the history alongside that era. The likes of Philipp Lahm, Schweinsteiger, been pivotal in the success that this team has had over the last 8 to 10 years.
Looks very hungry for it all to continue. Moses and the youngster Friedel. They've already lost Juan Bernat on this tour, not to a dissimilar challenge actually.
Very much so. He's late, just tries to nick it. It's Friedel who plays it. He just catches his standing leg. That'll be a sore one.
Picked up a yellow card for it. Not a lot going right for Chelsea. Now, part of the structure of this tournament, water breaks on the half hours, very good idea. And it comes in very handy here for Antonio Conte to get a different message across, I think. Ancelotti surely can't have anything to complain about. Well done, that's more like it.
You'd imagine it'd be a real contrast in the two managers, this water break. Trying to get key messages on, as I've already mentioned. I don't think Conte and Batshuayi can do too much. The service up to him has been quite poor. When it has, he needs to hold up the play, bring his other players into play. It's so important. It's the first goal. Rafinha switch play really well. Rafinha, they just back off, allow him the shot. But I think Courtois could do possibly better with that one.
Something of an unsung hero quite often, Rafinha. Ribéry, full of tricks as usual. Thomas Muller with the first of his two. And this elegantly done. Look at the room and look at the ruthlessness here of Muller as he exploits it. They stood off him and he punished them like that.
Again, way too much space for Bayern to go and capitalise on it. 2v2, Christensen, Cahill keep backing off. You cannot do that with a player of this ability. And he had a little warm-up the other day against Milan. This time he finds the back of the net.
Struggled for goals last season, Thomas Muller, but that bodes well. He didn't actually score in the Bundesliga until just before the midwinter break. Finally the drought ended against Wolfsburg, but even with that, only 5 in the Bundesliga last season, 3 in the Champions League. Way down on his previous level. And of course, Keith, that came after a barren spell for Germany in the Championships. Flag stayed down. Couldn't get that one, but he's moving much more impressively here than previously on this tour, is he not?
I don't think we've seen him spinning behind like that once against Milan. Granted, the level of service wasn't what we've seen today, but he's like a different animal today, isn't he? That match sharpness, getting ever so close to being right up there. Such a prolific striker, gives him that base to go and play off.
Forward by Fabregas, a bit more direct Chelsea, and they might get profit from it. Tom Starker did well. Boga had a run at him. Was that the message Conte's tried to put out during that water break?
Quite possibly. These players in particular. Boga does really well. It's poor defending by Martinez. But again, Fabregas, we've seen time and time again over the years looking for that penetrative pass.
Again, from Bayern's point of view, just to reiterate, Manny Neuer and Sven Ulreich, the first 2 choice goalkeepers at Bayern, still recovering from injury. Neuer didn't go with Germany to the FIFA Confederations Cup because of injury. Several of the other Bayern superstars, of course, were rested. Thomas Muller among them. Kante for Chelsea. Did it hit the arm of Moses? He's allowed to go on. Ancelotti was appealing for the free kick. Willian. Fabregas. Batshuayi knows himself. Bit lucky Tolisso, but he's got away with it. And he's taken out by the skipper.
I think Cahill knows exactly what he's doing here. A nice little give and go. Rodriguez headed it back to him maybe.
Martinez. Martinez and Alaba on this tour have both had a turn playing at centre-back alongside Hummels. But of course, the competition in that area for Bayern is going to be hotter than ever in the coming season. Niklas Süle has arrived from Hoffenheim, probably the outstanding young centre-back in the Bundesliga. He is on an extended break because he was in Russia with the Germany team that won the Confederations Cup. And they have to come back. Similarly, in the middle of the park at the moment, no Vidal for the same reason, he was with Chile, and no Thiago. Rafinha again gets away from Marcus Alonso. Christensen did well against Muller. Knows all about the threat, of course, Christensen, having Liga for the past couple of years.
Muller's movement was superb there. Initially, he came to feet. He spun in behind Cahill right at the right time to provide that outlet for Rafinha just as he came inside. Such a clever player, Muller.
Little touchdown by Batshuayi. Jeremy Boga gets on it and goes for it. Renato Sanchez away. It is a free kick. But that kind of physical energy we have not seen enough of, perhaps, from Renato Sanchez.
Yeah, I agree. Far too often he's been on the periphery of games. I think that's a clever foul, really do. I think Jeremy Boga, a little bit of credit. I think he's been the one that's looked quite lively when he's going to try to make things happen. He realises the opportunity he's got here.
It's a long way out. Willian looks like he fancies it. Willian scored it. Now watch for Bayern breaking here quickly. Chelsea need to regroup quickly. Kante brilliant. That's his area where he's just a step ahead of nearly everybody, Keith, isn't he?
He's super.
Such a success, this fellow, Marcus Alonso, last season. A certain amount of head scratching went on when Conte went for him in the transfer market, but he repaid his faith handsomely. Hummels couldn't steer it past Moses. Nothing that Batshuayi could do with that one. Is it perhaps just the indication here that during that break, Keith, Conte has said to Chelsea, look, let's play into the front men a bit earlier.
He's recognised that it's not quite happening. I said earlier on about Bayern having that numerical advantage in the heart of midfield. I don't like to harp back to it, but certainly defensively, Fabregas can be found out. I think that's why Matic got the nod more often than not last season. Bayern have been very crisp in their passing. Chelsea really struggled to get it going, so maybe let's just play off the front a little bit more.
This wasn't happening in the first 15 minutes, though, was it? Nobody was stopping Rafinha then. Certainly had a wake-up call in that respect, Chelsea, in this half. Pumped forward by Starke. Gary Cahill got his head on it. Kante. Amazing, you were talking about Kante there. When Gary Cahill and co were winning the Champions League final against Bayern Munich, Kante wasn't even playing in the top division in France for Boulogne.
I love hearing stories like that. It's something similar with Keita, Red Bull, similar type of story, lower leagues. Took the Bundesliga by storm last year. I'm sure they'll be very keen to hold on to him.
Fabregas. Marcos Alonso's got a lot of room. Now can he produce a good cross for Chelsea? No, the touch wasn't good enough, and Rafinha snapped in. I think it's always a little bit personal with Bayern when they meet Chelsea because of what happened on that night, the Champions League final.
Could you add that to the performance and result against Milan only a few days ago? This Munich team have certainly had the bit between their teeth in the opening half. 2 corners in a row cause him a lot of problems. It's a standing start for Cahill. He does well. Gets up high, controls the header. He's unlucky not to find the inside of the post.
Free kick against Willian. Freedom. Ribéry to Rodriguez. Back to him by Renato Sanchez. Rafinha. Renato Sanchez, he looks a different player in this game to the player so low on confidence. Putting himself about all over the field. I know it's a free kick, Keith, but he is dominating what's happening out there.
Well, he's imposed himself big time, him and Tolisso. They've outrun, they've out-taught Kante and Fabregas in the heart of that midfield. I don't think there's a hell of a lot in this free kick either.
Three stoppage minutes at the end of this first half. 3 goals is the deficit, even if Chelsea have improved over the last 10-15 minutes. It is said about Ancelotti that this is one of his main strengths as a coach and manager, that he's got a brilliant rapport with his individual players, and he's the best at getting inside what's going on. Let's talk about what's happening and why things are not going well. And it looks very much like he's spent some time with Renato Sanchez.
Well, he's a good man manager, isn't he? It's always a telling factor when managers leave a football club, what's said about them, sometimes what's not said about them. He always has the utmost respect, regardless if he's played his players or not. Seems to always have that relationship with them.
Ribéry. James Rodriguez. Rafinha did enough to force a corner. Very inventive from Bayern.
James Rodriguez, quite quiet in the first half. Shows that beautiful technique he has. Good run by Rafinha.
But Keith, with James Rodriguez down the right here, I just wonder whether they're discovering a natural rapport with Rafinha here in this game. Courtois gets a firm fist to that one. Willian kept a hold of it. Batshuayi taken off him by Hummels. Kante. Nice little help on by Fabregas. Now can Chelsea help their plight in this game by getting one back before half-time? Boga. Rafinha's got to defend against him. Marcos Alonso. No way through. Fabregas had to go back for it. Kante. Azpilicueta. Firmly headed clear by Martinez. Victor Moses. Kante. Step over by Willian. Moses, ball in, was a beauty. Marcos Alonso comes onto it and smashes it into the net, and Chelsea are back in the contest.
Lovely play by Chelsea. on that right hand side. Marcus Alonso backing play up on the left. But they deserve this goal. Since that water break they've come into, it's a lovely little over by Willian. It's a cut back. Could Batshuayi actually gone a little bit further and got on the end of this? He had been a fully matched tempo possibly. But Alonso, it's as pure a strike as you're going to see.
Made that job look very, very easy. And an up note for Chelsea here at half-time, after they struggled so badly and made everything look so difficult for the first 30 minutes of this. Bayern Munich have a 3-1 lead here at the break. They arrived in Singapore, they're prime, and they've made a statement here against a club that could be a major rival in the months ahead. It's been excellent again here in Singapore in the International Champions Cup. Chelsea 1, Bayern 3 at half-time. And Koeman is coming on to replace Lewandowski for Bayern. Unhappy outing against Milan. He may not have been at fault, but any time you concede 4 at a big club, it's going to hurt. Got to put it behind him. So here we go. Let's hope that we can keep the intensity high here, Keith, despite the humidity.
Yeah, no changes for Chelsea. Antonio Conte may well have earmarked certain changes. Maybe not too pleased with what he's seen, certainly in the opening half an hour. A different dynamic now for Bayern. Thomas Muller probably push up into that striking position. Lewandowski coming off. Give us a chance to see James Rodriguez in that more central area.
Jeremy Bogi given his chance by Conte. Injury to Pedro probably helping in that respect. And of course Kennedy also departing from the Chelsea squad. Not his finest moment.
Just shows how young players have to be so careful with social media this day and age. If used properly, it's a nice tool to interact with the fans, but with that comes a huge amount of responsibility.
Well, Conte is so sharp on all those aspects of behaviour with his players. And of course the other element to the tour out here is the commercial side of it. Chelsea have their responsibilities and they want to live up to them. Hopefully he'll learn his lesson. Here's Rafinha, who got the fun started with that early goal here for Bayern. Renato Sanchez. I think this could become the biggest theme of the day for Bayern, whether they win or lose the game, Keith, that they've got a performance out of Renato Sanchez.
He's been superb physically, in possession. He's pulled the strings, taken very few touches. He's always been available as an option for teammates, dropping into little areas like this just to provide the extra man. It's been superb.
Made life much easier for Martinez and Hummels as well, hasn't he? Friedel to Frichtel, two of the prospects from the Bayern Academy. Conte looking for Chelsea to press. On by Tolisso. He too has played his part here. Still getting to know his new teammates. Muller will be down the middle without Lewandowski.
Clearly tweaked at a half-time. Conte got a position of the back 5 there. First half, Alonso, Moses wouldn't have even the camera, leaving that back through way too exposed. Playing more like a back 5 in the opening stages of the second half.
And watch the way Moses is now closing in on the far side as the players on this side. Absolutely right. I only mentioned it first half because having watched Chelsea a lot last season, Keith, I couldn't believe how advanced they both were.
It simply wasn't them, was it? You know, you can accept in pre-season sloppiness, tiredness, but starting positions, reactions, they should still be there. It's been ingrained in them for a whole season now under Conte.
Well, Alonso's got to track back quickly against Coman here. Interesting change, really, when it worked so well down the right in the first half for Bayern.
He's just balancing the minutes up a bit down to that. Lewandowski had a large chunk of the game against Milan. Obviously earmarked just to play a half today, but he was very, very sharp.
Tolisso, not quite in the Muller class from the first half. What of his contribution here today so far?
Yeah, I've liked him. I have to say, I thought he was a good signing from Lyon. Couldn't really affect the game against Milan the other day. But today, himself and Sanchez have been outstanding in the heart of the midfield.
Slip by Martinez might have been costly, covered off by Hummels. Renato Sanchez. I think as a contest, perhaps the next goal defines this game, doesn't it?
Very much so. Just with the whole way, look, there's that back five now in place. Chelsea or Conte's worked on at half time. He clearly doesn't want to concede any more goals. Certainly not how cheaply they conceded in the first half. He's tried to sort that out first and foremost.
Willian, always a bright spark. Friedel just got the toe there and on the ball, not on the man, but Willian went down anyway. And sportingly put out of play by Bayern.
Good break, Willian just knocks it. James Rodriguez, super tackle.
Seeing other dimensions here to James Rodriguez, aren't we? Martinez, Rafinha, direct by Hummels, just a bit too much on it for James Rodriguez. Christensen back to Courtois. Movement then by Christensen. Spinaqueta. Long by Courtois, but out of play. Pressed by Brian, so sharp.
And they do it in numbers as well. You see players going individually, 2 and 3 at a time, recognising when to pressurise that Chelsea defence.
Martinez, Renato Sanchez to Hummels. Ribery trying to run in behind. Friedel pressed high on Moses. And again the red shirts squeezing up. Chelsea out this side to Alonso. Rafinha on Alonso. I'm sure there will be changes here, of course, for Chelsea, but As to whether they can affect the pattern of the game without a player like Eden Hazard, I'm not sure that they can today, Keith.
I think they've missed that magic, haven't they? You think about last season, the front three in the main, certainly second half of the season, was Pedro, Hazard and Diego Costa. The three of those not available today for very different reasons, obviously.
Kingsley Coman. Switch by Renato Sanchez. Friedel creeping forward from left back. Ribéry. He's gone again here, Friedel. He's not the quickest, and there's a good recovery by Azpilicueta. A little sloppy again, perhaps, by Courtois.
I think so. I think he's been at the races. Whether it might be a little bit harsh, but the first goal, Rafinha, he's seen it all the way. Yes, it was a good strike. Certainly, the standards that he has set the last few years, you would expect him to maybe tip that one around the post.
The competition will be provided by Willy Caballero at Chelsea in the new season. Begovic departing for Bournemouth. Here's Rafinha. Would you see Caballero as a capable deputy?
Yeah, very much so. I think he done well when called upon last year in City.
Coman says to Alonso, see you later. Ribéry, well, he's Frank Ribéry, he's entitled to do it.
Kingsley Coman's been bright, hasn't he, since he's come on, giving Alonso a little bit of a run around. He knows exactly what he's doing. Ribéry just holds his position, recognises where the space is, just can't get over it. Keep it down. I think with Caballero and the whole Begovic, it's Courtois again, distribution, not on point, holds his hand up, recognises it. Again, it's a case of balancing the books to a degree. They sell Begovic for a nice profit. And Caballero in on a free transfer. A very, very experienced goalkeeper that is now used to the Premier League.
Certainly a great move for Willy Caballero. Friedel. Three in the box for Bayern. James attacked it. Might have had two in this game.
I think he should have had two. The run is exceptional. Looking at the bottom of the screen again, Alonso doesn't pick him out. Friedel produces a lovely ball, cultured into a lovely area. Alonso's not aware of it. He's only inches away.
Tolisso. Bayern looking very menacing again here. Chelsea at least have got bodies back, including both of those wing backs. They do seem to have had a bit of a telling off, and Moses certainly did well then. Conte looking for more. Marcos Alonso. Pushed out of the way by Martinez.
Looks like he's flagging now, Alonso. A role that him and Moses play. Very demanding physically.
Well, it looks like the boss is ready to flog him out there at the moment. Keep going. Fabregas. Moses. Azpilicueta to Fabregas. Looking for the movement. Oh, it's almost nicked right off him by Tolisso. Fabregas says, well, there wasn't a lot on. Kante trying to inject something. Marcos Alonso now. Fabregas. Willian. He has provided hope at times in this game. Gives it back to Fabregas. He's looking for Marcos Alonso, but that is all too easy. Rafinha gets the round of applause and a high five from Martinez. No threat for Bayern. Looks to me like these Bayern defenders are also aware of their responsibility to keep the opposition out. They rather crumbled against Milan. Renato Sanchez. Back to him by Tolisso. Fairly hectic schedule, really, Keith, in the first couple of the months for Bayern compared to many other top clubs. They started their pre-season preparations early, as they tend to do, right at the end of June, regardless of international call-ups. Here goes Ribery. He's been working hard, hasn't he? And he's set it up for James Rodriguez. Is this the moment? No, it's a brilliant block to deny him by Gary Cahill.
Superb recovery by Cahill. He was outnumbered. Frank Ribery, again, blind the ears. The way to pass, beautiful. Coman and James Rodriguez available. But it's last-ditch defending by Cahill, and he's been the one defender today that's really stuck to his guns. At times that's happened. Alonso hasn't got in to provide that cover.
James takes the corner, cleared by Batshuayi. Tolisso. Ribery. Chelsea backed off him. Bayern get another corner.
Again, it's bright play by Bayern. Kingsley Coman and into Tolisso, who feeds Ribery. Nice composure.
On the hour mark, some changes afoot here. Marcos Alonso clear. Nice take by Willian.
Thomas Muller's been quite quiet since he's gone into that advanced area. Not as much space in the second half for the Bayern players to capitalise on. Conte clearly tweaked things at half-time.
I don't think even Muller would contest this statement. He doesn't have Lewandowski's change of pace, and that was a real problem for Chelsea in the first half. Muller, a very able foil, playing off the front. James Rodriguez taking a more central role here second half, and doing well. On by Ribery. Coman. Nice link-up play. Kingsley Coman. Renato Sanchez. It's higher and wider than Ribery's a few minutes ago. But they're not letting the energy level drop here, Bayern. Now, one of these changes, remembering that we will also have a water break later in the half. So Alvaro Morata and David Luiz are coming on for Chelsea. This time last year all the talk was about Luiz, and of course now Morata, who signs from Real Madrid for nearly £60 million. Jeremy Boga has made way. He made some headway, Boga, but let's see what Morata can produce. Milos Pantovic has come on in the middle of the park for Bayern. Martinez got above Morata straight away. And in at right back is Felix Götze for Bayern. Famous family name, of course. Felix, the young brother. Hummels played with Mario, Dortmund, and of course with Germany. Here's Morata. As well as the goals, what he does provide, Keith, is outstanding movement up front.
Really bright player. Had to be very, very patient last year at Madrid. Coming back from Juve, it was such a success.
Chase for Alonso, couldn't get there.
I would fully expect a fully fit Morata. Should have been a goal. A little bit flat-footed. Getting to know his teammates maybe. It was a lovely cross.
Surely we'll need a game or two to get up to sharpness. David Luiz not messing about. He's actually got a free kick for Chelsea.
Refereed him well. See, could he play the advantage? James Rodriguez just catching David Luiz as he nicked it.
Kante. Sanchez gets a toe in again. He's without Tolisso in there now. Pantovic has gone into that role. Different kind of player, really, Pantovic. Perhaps a little bit more elegant. It's another element to life at this time of the year, though, Keith, surely. Martinez did well in the air again. You really have to bring some young players on the tour, don't you? You have to do that.
Well, if you're not going to blood young players in pre-season, you're never going to. The strength, the travelling these teams are doing as well, injuries that inevitably will pick up, fatigue. It's imperative. If you're going to trust them, give them the opportunity in environments like this.
Chelsea on the press here. Martinez stepped in again. Now, Bayern could break quickly. Kingsley Coman and Chelsea are very stretched suddenly defensively. It's 4-on-3. It's James Rodriguez looking for Ribéry. James again. Everything he tries misses.
Another blistering attack from Bayern. James Rodriguez. He's left his shooting boots at home. Ribéry just trying to orchestrate something. He finds Rodriguez again. Had options. Coman and Thomas Muller. Again, just can't quite find the back of the net.
10 attempts, 3 goals, reasonable ratio, but Bayern have had the chances to do even better in this game. 3 or 4 for James, and we've decided that we'll forgive Ribéry that attempt at the spectacular simply because he's Frank Ribéry. Here's Felix Götze. Coman, who's looked bright. Ribéry twisting both ways. Oh, brilliant by Frank Ribéry. James Rodriguez, and this time Courtois gets a very, very sharp save in. And he needed to.
Does Frank Ribéry ever cease to amaze you? Just take a look at this close control, and knowing when to lay it off as Moses comes into contact. Slides James Rodriguez in, and again he just can't beat Courtois.
Best piece of work tonight from Courtois' side. Rodriguez on the corner. Martinez with the header wide. Well, it's very intense still, isn't it?
Decent corner. James Rodriguez. Always going to be difficult for Martinez. Backpedaling, trying to head it back to where it came from.
Morata. Kept going. Marcos Alonso trying to get those legs working this side. Batshuayi and Morata in the box, but Götze stopped the cross from coming in, and was the boss there, but he's presented it back to Alonso, who keeps going and going. Kante. Fabregas. Marcos Alonso again. Off the shins of Batshuayi. There's a offside flag, I think, Keith.
I think it's for the initial ball to Alonso from Fabregas. Alonso stuck to his guns there. At one stage it looked like he was running in quicksand. He really is flagging. Surely Conte's thinking about how can that change.
Ribery simply indefatigable, keeping going. Muller looking a bit more tired then as he gave it away. And there's a little elbow there, surely, by Götze. Stern challenge. He's nothing like his brother, is he? This young fullback.
He's got straight in, hasn't he? Had a couple of tussles already. He's only been on the pitch a matter of minutes. Stopped Morata in his tracks there. That's exactly what he's doing.
Fabregas. So competitive, this meeting of the champions of England and Germany. Batshuayi, nice layoff this time, but it's over the top from Willian.
Well, Hummels and Martinez get caught out. Hummels way too advanced. Martinez nowhere, so the gaps in the defence. Batshuayi tries to lay it off to Willian. He's saying he wants it a little bit gentler.
David Luiz isn't messing around either in this game. Looking to energise Chelsea. There's plenty of hope here. Willian. Luiz again. Deflection on it. Oh, saved by the post. Bristol wasn't getting there, the goalkeeper. Big drive here by Chelsea, and their supporters are loving it in Singapore.
And he's right at the heart of it. David Luiz, he has injected a little bit of spirit into this Chelsea side. It's a scrappy one.
They're not used to losing games, Chelsea, and they don't want to lose this one either. Bayern get a free kick. Bayern looking ragged defensively now, Keith.
Only made the couple of changes, 2-3 changes. Starting to tire inevitably. This is Luiz's strike. Doesn't really catch it. That's sweet. Oh, deflection. Just off the post for a corner kick.
Freuchtel says to all these Bayern players, go on, get down the field. I'm going to punt this out as far as I can. Good spell from Chelsea. And they come again. Batshuayi. Morata made good headway down the middle. I think it'd be a huge addition for Chelsea. Here goes Coman. There's a little pullback, I think, by Alonso then.
I think he'd be lucky to escape a yellow card here. Referee just calling Marcos Alonso back. Blatant pull of the jersey. Coman was surely going to exploit that space left.
Time for the second drinks break here. Welcome respite because the pace has not flagged. As you said, what is he made of, Frank Ribery? 34 going on 17, isn't he? Amazing. Bayern are putting it all in here. They very badly want a victory after stumbling in the first part of this tour. Chelsea looking for a big finish. They've kept at it so very well here. The 34-year-old who's done it all, that's the chance him to have today to do the spectacular.
It's a great opportunity for James Rodriguez. He ghosted in from that right-hand side. Alonso let him go. In fairness to Alonso, he did have two men. He's disappointed.
And Luis sent out there to make things happen in his own remarkable way, and very nearly doing that. Bayern saved by the post with their second choice goalkeeper today, young Früchtel, in goal. Come on, let's put it all in here, he says. 15 minutes plus stoppages. Chelsea need 2 at least. If they get to 2, and if it were to end in a draw, it will be a penalty shootout. Still a long way to go, of course. But it is that indomitable will, isn't it, that Conte insists are beaten. We always keep going, whatever the scoreboard says.
Very much so. And half-time, there's been a real change in the way they've set up.
Batshuayi from a long way out.
Must have been a hell of a strike from there. Batshuayi hasn't had the opportunities that he had to shine against Arsenal. Martinez drops off a little bit. He's never going to trouble Früchtel.
Chelsea pressing up on Bayern now, as Bayern did to Chelsea in the first half. Coman into top gear here. Kingsley Coman, Ribéry didn't want to give it to James Rodriguez. Now he does. Room had rather been closed down. Coman. Looks really sharp, doesn't he, Kingsley Coman? Renato Sanchez. Wasn't really threatening. Moses. Chelsea looking to finish strong. It's been an arduous tour for a sub-strength Bayern squad, working very, very hard in July and August, as they tend to do. Götze on Morata.
Götze yet again part of the action. He's got a point. Clearly gets the ball. It's
a bit like Jack Charlton and Bobby Charlton, those two brothers, isn't it? Pantovic.
Moses just come onto the left-hand side. I think Tomori has come on for Marcos Alonso. A testing evening.
We mentioned the departure of several of the 19, 20, 21-year-olds who've threatened to make an impact at first-team level, and of course it does open the door for others, like 19-year-old Fikayo Tomori, born in Canada, playing for the England under-20s, of course, in that very successful World Cup winning team. Morata keeping going. Wanted an offside. I don't think it was for that.
No, I think he's given it for this one. this free kick. It's probably been given in this tournament.
Friedel to Ribéry. Renato Sanchez. Rolled up to Coman. Cahill does his best to look unconcerned, even though he's left on the deck, and that's on the deck as well, and that's going to be a free kick. Muller tracking back on Moses.
And a lot better in the second half, Victor Moses. Defensively, certainly, and driving his team forward, stuck to his task very, very well.
Two more changes here for Bayern. Well, he's going to get a hero's reception here, as is Thomas Muller. Frank Ribéry has been wonderful to watch, and Muller getting the 2 goals today for Bayern Munich, looking much more like his old self. So 2 veterans, but still with a huge part to play in the months ahead for Bayern Munich. Niklas Dorsch is coming on as Ancelotti gives the youngsters their chance.
It's interesting we speak about young players and getting the opportunity in pre-season. It's also really important for Thomas Muller. Those 2 goals today, just even with a man of his experience, what he's done in the game, still will be very keen to have a good pre-season, to bring it in to a competitive league, Champions League, going forward.
10 minutes ahead for Bayern, and it might be quite hard working 10 minutes because Chelsea haven't given up on this. Moses going against Götze. Gary Cahill well forward. Nicely done. Moses again. 4 in the box for Chelsea. Tomori coming off his flank.
Victor Moses does really well. Recognises where the space is. Friedel tucked right in that left back position, and Tomori, to say, was favourite. Friedel does well in the end.
Keith, these youngsters on this tour for Chelsea, like this fellow here, do you think Conte was happy to see the others like Chalobah, Loftus-Cheek departing because he thinks that these kids have also got a big chance?
I think it gets to a stage when you have to make a decision on the player's future. You know, we look at Loftus-Cheek. This time next year we'll know whether he's going to play the following season in a Chelsea shirt. Obviously gets on at Crystal Palace. Chalobah was very patient last year. He was always in and around the squad. But I think the combination of the club, the player as well, maybe forcing the move to a degree. But it's a conveyor belt at Chelsea. They have a relentless amount of talent coming all the way through. It's just bridging that gap. Who can make an impact on that first team?
Each one of these youngsters is so very keen to do exactly that, you know, or I mentioned the tremendous success for England's underage teams over the last few months, and so many bright prospects, but they're not going to flourish if they don't get first team time, and therefore they won't step up to the full.
You're talking about Chelsea as Premier League champions. It's so hard to break into that starting lineup, that match day squad. So it's vital that they do utilise the loan system. They go and experience first team football, which many do. But hopefully, the aim, I'm sure, within those loan spells, that they can start to put some of their own homegrown talent into the first team.
You're now working with the Republic of Ireland underage teams, and of course I think it's right to say one can only dream of having the choice that the England underage teams have at the moment, but it's so important for the senior team that they get the opportunity to make the progress.
It is. It's a knock-on effect. It's so hard to break into first team environments in this day and age, harder than it's ever been. The scouting networks worldwide, the choice. When I broke through, it was just the British Isles, and you're up against now the youth teams and throughout the Premier League, South Americans, African players all around Europe. It's tough for our homegrown players to make an impact.
Chelsea are very rightly proud of their production line. No problems this time as they stay in the hunt in this game. Eduardo getting down. Conte's going to give a run out to a couple more in a moment. I think it's entirely under Bayern's point of view, Keith, that they are making these changes. Here's Moses. Morata. Trying to get the rust out of the legs, isn't he?
Yeah, very much so. Good link-up play. The timing of his run to be available for Moses. I think at this stage of pre-season, you're right, the players that they need to get the minutes, they're staying on the pitch longer. At the start of pre-season, very much 45 minutes each.
And now they're back in it. It's turned in by Batshuayi, or is it going to... Yes, it is going to count, and maybe it's not all over here. Bayern's occasional defensive frailties showing themselves again.
Well, it's far from dominating defending. Mats Hummels very, very disappointed to concede like that. It's Fabregas with the corner. It's a little flick on, actually comes off Winsheimer. Morata contesting at the front post. Batshuayi, far too much space right in the heart of the 6-yard box. Good concentration to finish it.
That's his last involvement. Picks his moments, doesn't he? Premier League decisive goal in the Championship race, and a goal here to enliven this late on against Bayern Munich. Bayern have been warned for the months ahead, should they meet again in the Champions League, incidentally. But what of this in the International Champions Cup? Chelsea have got better and better. And Bayern look a little bit bedraggled now after all the changes. They had a firm grip on this for a long time. What a lift it would be for Chelsea to come back from 3-0 down here, and there would definitely be questions asked from Bayern's side. The overpowering legends who run the show behind the scenes, Rummenigge and Hoeneß, they're not used to see Bayern going 3 games in a row ever without a win, whatever the context. Look at Chelsea, they're buzzing away, they want to haul this back. That would please Conte so much, won't it?
Yeah, and it goes back to the point we were making earlier about how well this tournament has been contested by nearly every team, and every game, it has to be said.
Moses thought he'd got away from Götze. Bayern breathe again here.
It's been a good little battle, that one. Götze initially up against Alonso, now Moses. Initially it could have been the other way around, that one.
In fairness to Bayern, if they are looking a bit weary now, it's been an arduous pre-season. It starts in the latter part of June for most of the players who are not on international duty. They played a couple of low-key friendlies against lower league teams back home, and then they play a sort of 45-minute aside senior tournament against Hoffenheim and Werder Bremen before coming out here even. Then Arsenal, Milan, Chelsea, and it keeps coming. Another 2 days they play Inter. They don't complain, of course, they get their midwinter break, but they do it differently.
Again, another questionable free kick. Cahill clearly gets the ball,
as he said. Coman. Moses has got better and better in this game. Still time for more. Kante. Coman working back hard, but Moses has got away from him. Almost. So frustrated with him. Going to have a run then. Instead it's Kingsley Coman, and we know he can run. James Rodriguez is on outside him. Now will he go for it, or will he settle for taking some time out here? I think he's done that. Coman. All the way back by Götze. Sums up the state of the game now, really. Martinez. Rather theatrical. Cahill on James Rodriguez.
It's patient play by Bayern, using that experience. James initially slinging the ball into the box. And very few numbers. Gets involved in the second phase of the attack. Buys a free kick for his side again. Valuable time. There's no rush to get up, James.
Friedel. No problems for Luis. The only problem for Chelsea now is the time factor, I think. Eduardo got there. Stoppage minutes. Certainly been a hard workout for Ancelotti's men again, and Chelsea may be even now not finished. In all honesty, Chelsea did not play very well in the first half, Keith, but what does it say about the mentality that Conte has embedded in this club now, that they've fought so very hard here?
I think second half they've been a different team. Bayern haven't hit the heights that they did in the first half, it must be said, but tactically he tweaked it at half-time. They've been a lot more compact, a lot more resolute. They've been the ruthless Chelsea that we've been accustomed to watching.
Conte leads them up again. Willian took it over from Baker, senior man I suppose you could say. That's a pretty optimistic hit from that range, with so many red and white shirts in the way, but they come again with Moses here. Götze, strong and determined, did well. Just what Bayern needed.
Been impressed with Victor Moses, still going very strong. Victor Moses just tries to drag it, he stays on his feet very well. Götze.
Coman, denied by Gary Cahill. Azpilicueta looking to launch it. Tomori instead. Morata goes over. Chelsea don't get the free kick.
Difference of opinion there. Hummels, Morata. Let's have another look. Very minimal contact, if at all.
Dare I say, in Spain he would have got it. Former Real Madrid man Rodriguez. Trying to play forward. Needs this victory, doesn't he? Needs to put it in the bank. He's almost there.
I think he'll be happy. He was always expecting a reaction from that man. Tactically, he got it spot on at half-time, got his team back into it, but we said in the first few minutes he didn't want his team to concede again, and they haven't.
Conte will surely be very, very pleased with the second half overall. But it looks now like Chelsea might fall just short. Baker. On by Willian to Moses. Might be more defending for Bayern to do here. He's got away from Götze this time. Dorsch came to help. Stuck to his... Conte grabs it. Willian can't use it. Still Chelsea fighting for everything. That's what Conte wants to see from this Chelsea team. but they're going to come up just short here. Well, what an outstanding contest. Nothing pre-season about it whatsoever. Again today in the International Champions Cup, everybody put everything in, and Chelsea came mighty close to rescuing it from 3